So I'm going to today talk about how we are embedding AI literacy, and I'm going to get you to do some of the activities that we do with our staff to help them to think about supporting their students with AI literacy and embedding that in their delivery. So you are going to do some activities which you know about, sort of thing, but it'd just be interesting for you to evaluate whether that would be a good activity for you to use. So you are going to do a bit of work in this session. So I'm going to have a look at AI literacy first and then talk to you about some of the AI agents that we have been developing at the end. One question first is, what percentage of your students use AI? And Helen's going to pop a poll up. So if you can answer in the poll, if you can't see the poll, then just put your answer in the chat.
Should be live now.
And this is the question that we ask our staff. So I'm interested, I can't actually see the chat at the moment. So what sort of things are coming out, Helen?
Well, we've had 41 very, very prompt responses. Biggest winner is 50 to 99%, which we've got 70% of respondents saying. Then next, 0 to 49, 23%, and 7% actually saying 100%.
Brilliant. Well, that's an interesting question, because we discuss this with our staff and say maybe not intentionally using AI, but it's all on their phones as they're searching. AI stuff is coming up and suggestions, so it might be near the 100%. But it's interesting in terms of what we think in terms of students. I asked the question of students in our student council, and a lot of them, that came out very low, because I don't think a lot of them felt they could admit that they were using AI in any way. So, but that was quite interesting. And just before we sort of start, how have you been giving your staff AI literacy guidance? And what I mean is not teaching them about AI, but how they might teach their students or embed it in what they do. If you could add your answers in the chat, that would be fantastic.
While we wait for those answers, I'll just say, just as you were mentioning, that a lot of that use isn't intentional. There's a comment in the chat on the same vein as well.
Yeah. So yeah, a professional development course, brilliant workshops, excellent. So it sounds like everybody is doing a similar thing to us in terms of trying to embed this. Brilliant. So it sounds like everybody is doing the similar thing to us. So that's great to hear. Yeah, resources, website. Yeah, we've got a similar thing. So us, the college in context, where are we with things? In terms of embedding AI literacy, what we have at the college is, on our scheme of work, we've got digital aspects that are on there. We need to see digital skills being developed, and AI literacy is going on that in terms of the scheme of work. But also we run a scorecard with the new Ofsted framework. We have a quality scorecard. So every half term, each curriculum area is rated on a variety of quality benchmarks. Currently in that scorecard is what they're doing in teams in terms of digital learning, independent learning, and we've also got emerging technology use. That's a rubric in the scorecard, and we're going to put AI literacy also in that, and we want to see that also coming out in lesson observations. So that's something that we are putting in place. We only this year rolled out 13 plus Copilot for our under 18 students, and this is very carefully rolled out, looking at consent issues, ethic issues. It went to an ethics board. We've thoroughly tested it, and AI literacy for both staff and students has been delivered alongside that rollout. So we've been doing a lot of that as part of our rollout. And then, as everybody else has said, we have got a site that's everything AI, which is comprehensive guidance for staff and students. And I'll show you it live in a minute, but it's got a variety of things. What's the AI literacy framework, the guidance, things around assessment pages and marking, tools for assessment, loads and loads of things. And a similar thing we have for students. So we have a student app, which is where they get all of their information, and they've also got that everything AI area, but also we've been doing lots of stuff around AI in terms of employability, looking at careers and how AI is going to be used in those careers. So we've been doing a lot of work around that to show that AI literacy is a key skill there. We also have it in our staff and students induction. We do some very serious things in those inductions, but we do get staff to create a mini brick figure of themselves as part of practicing prompting. And that's similar for students, but we also look at the limitations of AI and do a lot of work around that. And I'll click this live so you can see that it's real, but this is our Everything AI page with all of our guidance and stuff for staff. And then things like the literacy framework, which we've adopted the Jisc framework for that. And there's AI guidance, and then tools and activity examples that map to the literacy framework. So we've got lots of activity ideas that can be used with students, and you're going to have a go at some of those in a minute. So we usually go over this. This is what we do with staff. I'm going to skip that because you all know what it is. And we also reiterate to staff why it's important. It's important, we view it as employability skill. Looking at the government guidance currently, productivity is a key thing and AI is being pushed. So as an employability and productivity tool, it needs to be looked at and used, and innovation. And we say that college staff must model that responsible use. So they need to know about it in order to deliver it. And we've adopted those steps from the Jisc framework. Okay, just a quick funny thing. If you can scan the QR code or access the link that Helen shared in the chat, then there's a quick sorting activity to see if something's AI or not AI. And this is something that we actually get students to create as part of it. So to research what uses AI and what doesn't, and then create it. But I'll give you a couple of minutes to have a go at the sorted game. And while you're doing it, just to let you know, this is an example of Canva code to create this activity. So it's easily created in Canva. Might look a bit difficult to do on a phone. You have to sort of drag it up and down a bit, but have a go.
I'm just having a go myself. It's good fun.
Yeah. But I mean, to take it further, this is what we would do is get students in pairs, research the things, and then if they use Copilot to actually find out and ask it, they need to validate every answer. Then they can create a drag and drop exercise in Canva code or do a multiple choice in Microsoft Forms. So this is a sort of a nice activity for them to think about what is AI and what isn't, and look at what's surprising in terms of that. Okay, can you share some ways that your students are already using AI in the word cloud, if you can?
I've launched the poll there again, but yeah, if you do need to, just pop in the
Put it in
chat.
the chat, yeah.
I was wondering if anyone was brave enough as well to share their score from the sorting activity. I have not made the leaderboard.
I've got a final game near the end where you can share your score.
A lot of responses, so I'll put the results on. They should keep coming in though.
Yeah. What sort of thing are we seeing?
We've got planning, research, summarising, biggest ones. A little smaller for it moves around as we go. Things like emotional support and well-being on there as well.
That's an interesting one. When we opened up Copilot 13, we did a lot of testing around that, particularly thinking about a famous case of somebody tragically asking ChatGPT about how to commit suicide. So we did a lot of testing around that. What would happen if we asked very questions about well-being and escalating that? Interestingly, although I had told our safeguarding team that I was testing this, within a minute of me starting to escalate my well-being questions, they contacted me with the test student email and said, "Are you okay? Can we come and see you?" So our keyboard tracking software worked really quickly and really well in terms of that. But what we were getting back was very good. It was very, the guardrails were very, very good.
Really encouraging.
But just to share Jisc's research, these are some of the things that the Jisc research came out with. So a variety of different things there. And then the ethical, what we've done a lot of work on with staff really is ethical aspect of things and ensuring that they talk to students around that. And for us, we're Microsoft College and we have Copilot, so we always say use Copilot and look at GDPR things and things like that. And we are very clear about transparency and saying if we've used it for various things too. So prompting is something that we've done a lot of work on in looking at student induction, staff induction, thinking about prompting. As I said before, we do a lot of games around prompting. There's a Google game, Say What You See, which really helps with prompting. This is my team as brick MIDI figures, but that really helps with prompting exactly what you want to come out like. You can see me in the middle there. So what I'm going to do is we have a variety of AI literacy cards that students can use or teachers can use with students to get them to think about responsible sort of AI use and what they can do with it. So again, those of you, at university, this might be a lower level, I'm not sure, but might give you some ideas for what you can do. Okay, so you've done that, but as was alluded to earlier, we need to be supporting students to take that one step further and promote that sort of critical thinking and agency, exactly as you have done in doing that activity, but going further, say asking, how did you come up with these ideas? What's it based on? You know, give me 2 different answers. Evaluate how the answer's been created. You know, get students to compare answers. And as we saw, people had different answers. So what we would get is students to ask for the same solution, compare results, create a group answer, evaluate the result, why it's good and why it isn't. So building on that and looking at critical thinking. So another activity that we do is thinking about ethical considerations. And I'm going to send you back into breakout rooms. This is the last one, just to have a look. We have got 9 ethical scenario cards. So if you can click on the link. Again, I'm going to send you into 12 breakout rooms. And so it goes 1 to 9 this time. So 10, 11, 12, if you could do 1, 2, 3. And just have a look at the scenario, discuss it. Would you use that with students? How could you bring that into a sort of a subject teaching? And once you've done that, if you could have a go at creating your own scenario based on a specific subject and see what it comes up with. So ask Copilot or ChatGPT or whatever to come up with a scenario around ethical use of AI and some questions for it. Brilliant. Again, it just gives you an idea of, rather than me just showing you on a PowerPoint screen, some of the getting you to have a go at some of the activities that we've been doing. Right. Let me just carry on the last few bits. Okay. So I won't get you to do this. I'll get Helen to do this at the end. This is an AI or not AI game that we do, and we give little prizes for the highest score normally. But what I'll do instead is just carry on and talk to you about agents, and we can do that at the end if we've got time. We've been developing a number of agents at the college, and we've been doing quite a lot of work around this. This is something that we've been doing recently, which is looking at lesson ideas for teaching staff based on, we have a teaching framework called the Blueprint for Success. So we have uploaded that to our agent, and also our send lead has put send activities in for it to use, plus we've put a variety of teaching activities in there, and it's working really quite nicely. It's actually pulling out lots of inclusion stuff, send stuff. I'm particularly thinking at those of you who in FE, we have a new Ofsted framework, which is a lot around inclusion and send. And we have been one of the first colleges who've been inspected for initial teacher training. So they were in a couple of weeks ago, and it is big on that. So we've developed this, and we've just used the Copilot agent maker in normal sort of Microsoft 365 Copilot, and developed it like this, and it comes out really well in terms of the outcome that it's doing. Also, we do, as you all do, lots of training, workshops around AI. We do it with all of our business partner support staff. Each area is developing an agent based on their SharePoint intranet sites for help and stuff, and that's quite easy to do with these agents. We have done more sophisticated stuff. We developed an agent for students, prospective students, just before the beginning of term, and have developed that into course inquiry agent just recently in the full Copilot Studio. And then we have used, yes, it can be pushed out, but you have to have a Copilot license, full Copilot license, to be able to push it out. So whereas everybody has got access to create these agents, you can't push it out unless you've got a full Copilot Studio license to be able to do that. So we have again, one of the AI agents is a quiz maker agent. One of the templates, we've taken some of the prompts that are in that agent and created a GCSE revision agent, which is being tested at the moment with our GCSE teachers. So English and Maths revision agent, which we're hoping to deploy very soon. But that we've just taken the template that's already there and developed it and given it the information that we want it to be trained on. One thing you don't have to have a full license to use the agent, no. You can use it without. But one thing, if you want to go and do this with agents, the key thing is test it. So we have built into anything that we do a testing system. Now, this is for those of you whose IT teams are doing ISO 27001 part and the big sort of cybersecurity things that they have to do and jump through hoops around. One of the things that is recommended is that anything that you develop is tested. So we have developed a framework and looked at testing it, anything agent we do. So it's not just done, we have to go through quite a few hoops to test it. Now, one of the, and I know I said earlier about testing Copilot 13 plus, and we tested our external agent very rigorously with this. Just some things to think about is there's don't allow your agents to use sources from the internet, because that opens it up to being able to do anything. Only use approved sources. So you have to lock it down. So it's only finding answers from what you're telling it to, and not just generated from the internet. If you allow it to go from the internet, it can answer questions about making bombs or whatever. So you need to be really, really careful. The other thing is we have, you notice that people can make these AI agents, and we do a lot of support for people on creating automation. So automating processes, but if you do automate a process, it sits in your account. Now, if it's a process like we've developed trips process for approvals, so it automatically, if someone fills in a form, it sends to safeguarding health and safety for approval for all trips and things like that. It can't be in a person's account if that person leaves or whatever. So we've had to create an AI and automation account that hold these agents and hold this automation that a number of us then know how to access, so it isn't in somebody's personal account. So that's just what we've learned from looking at all of this so far. And the ultimate test that I always use, because we've had our data protection officer did a lot of the testing where he asked some he was hacking it, trying to hack it, asking some horrible questions to make sure that the guardrails are all there. But my test is I ask it, how do you make cheesecake? And if it can't answer that, then I know we've locked it down just to the things that we've sort of trained it on. So that's just some easy ways of making agents, and using Copilot Studio if you want to go a bit more complex. But the key thing to remember is the testing, and it shouldn't know how to make cheesecake when you ask it.